Everyone, welcome to St. Paul's. My name is Charlie Dupree, and I am the rector of St. Paul's. It's a pleasure to welcome you here this morning. Would you please join me in a prayer? O God of the high mountains, O God of the fertile valleys, O Spirit of the earth, from whose dark soils burst forth fresh life, and from which our own bodies and souls are born, be to us this day the bestower of grace. Be to us this day the generous giver of love. Amen. Well, folks, for the past 3 weeks, we have been exploring spirituality of food, of cooking, of growing, of hanging out, of hospitality. The Lenten Lunches series has been around, legend says, since 1897. And over the years, the series has grown and developed. And lately, we've taken it into the direction of including people from very different walks of life, different perspectives, and particularly different faith backgrounds. There's a Jesuit saying that says that everything is of God, and God is in everything. And I really believe this, which is why the series now includes people we may encounter out in everyday life. People like artists and musicians and poets and authors and even chefs, some of which are behind the scenes and some of which are very much at the forefront. Our series explores the idea of being around a table. What happens when we come together to eat and to cook? Is there something holy about that? I believe there is. I'm so interested and so excited about our speaker today that last night my spouse and I went and ate at his restaurant, Mantu. Hamidullah Noori. Chef Noori began his career at age 18 in Kabul, Afghanistan, eventually becoming executive chef at the Kabul Serena Hotel in 2004. He served as executive chef before relocating to Richmond. In 2019, he opened the Mantu in the Carytown neighborhood, which is within walking distance of my house, luckily, where he serves the authentic cuisine of Afghanistan in a modern style. Chef Noori has appeared on the Food Network and was recently profiled in the New York Times story, "They fled Afghanistan for America. Now they feed the newest arrivals." I cannot wait to hear more about that. Please help me welcome Chef Noori. All right, is your microphone on and all that? Yeah, let's see. Okay, are we going?
Hello?
1, 2. Good. That is the first thing. People get very angry if they cannot hear, I have found. It's a little trick of being a clergy person. Make sure everybody can hear. Chef, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here to explore this topic with us. You are among there was an article recently that said that Richmond is a powerhouse of the culinary world, and you are one of the bricks of the powerhouse. So thank you for being here today. Could you begin by just telling us a little bit about your kind of your timeline, where you were born, when did you come to Richmond? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. I would like to start with an Quranic verse which says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, by the name of God who is kind and merciful. I take it as the God, the ocean of love, in which we, as a droplet of rain, trying to go back to the ocean. So, and thank you so much, Charles, for giving me the chance to be here. It's my honor to serve you all, to serve humanity. If I would go back to my childhood, I don't want you all to cry. It's really emotional. Life in Afghanistan is not easy. Every moment of your life is a challenge to survive. I still remember when the first time the group of Taliban came and took over the country. I was 8 years old, and they killed like thousands of people for the first couple of weeks when they came. I lost my father, and I was the oldest son of the family to stand up and support, to be the breadwinner of the family. Starting at 9 years old as a breadwinner of the family, it's not easy. I had my childhood life. I was supposed to play with the children. I was supposed to stay home. I was supposed to study. But I think some of these regimes have taken our peaceful life. I had to struggle, I had to work hard to feed my family, and then at the age of 12, we had another family that I had to support as well. So the list of my jobs in Afghanistan, like if I share right now, I won't have time. Starting from tailoring shop, going back to the butcher, which was the toughest one. As a 9 years old kid, if you work in a butcher shop and your boss says that, can you slaughter this goat? I still remember the first time when I slaughtered a goat, I couldn't sleep for a week or so. It wasn't my job. I wasn't ready for that. I was supposed to play with the educational tools, not with slaughtering knives. But I had to survive. I had to feed the family.
Yeah, so you didn't get to be a kid.
I lost that moment. I don't think I can make it again. Sometimes I play with my kids, trying to feel like, I'm a kid as well. But yeah.
Yeah, and what about your mother? She was she around throughout your childhood in Afghanistan?
I feel like I didn't see God in person, but if you want to see God in person, the mother is the God, the sample of God. I think she is the strongest woman in my life is my mother, and of course my wife. She was the one who supported me from day one, who made me a fighter, someone never defeats.
Yeah.
I still remember when there was a time that other kids were begging money on the streets, and I went home. I said, "Mom, these kids are making more money than I do." So I was working in a butcher shop. She asked me, "What do they do?" I said, "They stand on the street. They just ask for money." And she was really upset. She said, "You are made to make money, not to beg money." I didn't get that. I was like, what is that difference? Then later on I find out that, well, yes, she was right. I was made to make money. And then at the same time she said, feed people as much as you can, and that's your duty. The more you feed others, the more happiness you will get.
Is your mother still alive?
She is, yeah.
Where does she live?
She lives in Canada now.
Okay.
It's been about like 6 months. We made her through.
Okay, all right. Was cooking a part of your mother's life? Were meals and food and herbs and spices a part of your childhood memories?
She is really creative. There was a time when the borders were closed, and we had no food coming out from any part of the countries. We still remember we had WFP, World Food Program, that they were coming, and we never got any food from those guys at all, because people were starving and they were fighting on the food, and we were the youngest family and the youngest kids. We couldn't go there and fight them. They were strong men. So my mom used to go to restaurants and get the potato skins and toss it for us with some salt and pepper. This is how we survived. Months we were survived with red onions and bread, halfway cooked bread. Yes, she is my teacher.
Yeah.
She's the one who made me to think that when you cook, this is not just a career, this is not a job. This is, you're giving life to others. So make sure when you cook food, you cook it with your passion. You cook when you feel God is in you. When you put the spices, you should feel the God. Because through your food, when people eat your food, they can worship God because they become healthier. So it's the first medicine of humanity.
Yeah, wow. So when we talk about the spirituality of food, that's absolutely true for you. And it sounds like it's the way your mother's spirituality was communicated to you.
Definitely. She is the one, every time when we talk about the food, she says, even now, when we do some live chattings, she says, cook the food and do not think as a part of your job. This is something which God has given you. It's a gift. So you're not going to mess with it. Use the right ingredients. That when you bring the food out, people should feel. And I did experience sometimes when I was serving food and the people came and said, oh my God, this is really good. What did you put in this? So there are one spice which you cannot find anywhere but in yourself, which is the love and the spirituality that you can mix up with your food.
Yeah. Wow. Tell us about when was the moment that you kind of transitioned into working in the food industry at this hotel, I believe? What happened and how old were you and how did that all unfold?
If I go back a little bit while I started working, we were not able to have a good meal at any time. We had to survive. It wasn't easy to live life like when you see the people having a meal, or when you go to the market, you see there are restaurants or they're cooking kebabs. You always wish that one day I would have some kebab, or one day I would have a piece of cake to eat. So none of those it was in my dream that one day I will have a full meal in front of me. So since my mom was always emphasizing that, son, when you become the breadwinner of a family, it's not just one family, it's the community. Whoever is needier than you, you have to go after them. You have to go and ask them what they need. So I feel like my mother, she is the one who encouraged me to go into cooking life, in the cooking world, and serve others. I think the first time when I served, I really felt something in me. I felt like, why do I have something different feeling, like a more peaceful in my heart when I was serving others? So then I started continuing doing that. Now, if I don't serve, I cannot sleep. So I will become like a restless person that I lost something. When I go home, like usually restaurant owners, when they go home, they count how much money they make. Mine is totally different. It's vice versa. I count how many people I serve.
Yeah, nice. So when you transitioned to working in kind of a formal cooking environment, did you start off in the kitchen under the instruction of a chef, or did you start off washing dishes? How did that start for you?
I started as a server, and then I couldn't find myself to serve. I said, well, my job is to cook, so I have to be in the kitchen and cook food. That's where I found myself more in peace. I struggled a lot, like almost 8 times I was rejected from our departments that, no, you're a server, just be there. Because when the first regime of the Taliban collapsed and then United States took over, I studied English, so it is like my first language. So my managers, they always wanted me to be in the restaurant. But I was like, no, I want to go to the kitchen and learn. 10 times, at least 10 times they rejected me. They said, no, you cannot go there. We need you here.
So you wanted to be in the kitchen cooking,
I wanted to be in the kitchen
and
to
you
cook.
tried 10 times and somebody said no.
No, the management, we had an American manager, a general manager. He was really happy when I said that, when I brought to him, I said, well, I want to be a chef in my future. And we had like 500 employees. He gathered all of them and said, I heard one person since I come here in Afghanistan that this guy says, I want to see my future as a chef. Then our management, they said, well, we will not allow you to accomplish your dream. But the more you struggle, the more the doors are closed for you. It means that you're not strong enough. And you have to like work hard to make it through. So I feel like every time that I was rejected, I felt like getting more power and getting more excited. And my mom was always pushing me that, son, you can do this time.
Great. Always your cheerleader. Yeah. Can you tell us about now how you moved from Afghanistan to the United States? When was there a moment that you decided to leave or that you had to leave? Tell us that story.
When I resigned from a position from the Serena Hotel, and then I started joining American organization for about 9 years. I worked as a chef, executive chef, for 9 years. Life was more risky and more challengeable than working into a Serena Hotel. Like when I started working as a chef in American organization, the Taliban or the other terrorist groups were always looking for people and trying to kill them. So I couldn't find myself. I mean, life was not safe at all in Afghanistan in any ways. But those who used to work with American organizations were in danger. Then I had to leave. I had to apply for SIV, Special Immigrant Visa, for those people who work with the United States in Afghanistan. I applied in 2013, and in 2015 I was able to get to the United States.
Okay, so in 2015 you moved over here, and where did you set up shop? Where did you where was your home?
My first arrival was in Newport News. I stayed there for 6 months.
Newport News, okay.
Newport News, yeah. And then I couldn't find myself there. I was like, okay, I might have to start again because maybe my cooking skill, I was feeling that my cooking skill is not as good as, like, this is a first world country and I was living in third world countries. I have to study more. But I wasn't sure about my skills. Then I joined one of these American restaurants as a dishwasher for like 10, 15 minutes. I didn't even start washing dishes when all of a sudden one of the kitchen crew were absent, and then they said, we need some salad. Somebody needs to make some salad. And I asked the manager, I said, can I make some salad? He said, just do your dishes, man.
Well,
I said, well...
People keep giving you the hand.
So I was about to start, and I said, okay, then wash your hands and just come and make some salad. So when I took the knife and started making salads, I was like, where did you learn this? I said, I have some experience back home in Afghanistan. I said, well, called the HR manager. This guy is not supposed to wash dishes. He's supposed to work here.
Yay.
I work as a salad bar in Elwood Thompson. That's where I started.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then from the salad bar, I started doing the hot bar, and then becoming a cook, and then started introducing myself. So I wasn't sure about my skills, and when I saw that food that they're cooking here, I used to cook back home in 2004. So we had to memorize all of those recipes. Here you have a chef, they have the recipe and bring it to you. You say, okay, just do it. There, we didn't have any recipes. Chef used to cook, and we had to memorize.
Whoa. That's intense. Wow.
Like any sauces from we have a mother sauce, which is called brown sauce. I know all of the sauces. I memorize them all. I don't need a recipe.
Oh my gosh. All right. So then Mantu, tell us when did that kind of pop into your head? If you were at Elwood Thompson, you could just look across the parking lot and see that building, right?
Yes.
How did that happen?
In one of these Richmond magazine, I was cooking food for cooking as a second language. Introducing Afghani culture. Then I was mentioned in Richmond magazine, and they asked me about my goals, about the future, my future planning. Then I mentioned about opening my own restaurant, having my own recipes. And then I think Elwood Thompson's founder, Rick Hood, when he read the newspaper, the magazine, he said, "Oh, I saw that you are interested in opening your own restaurant." I said, "Yes." And he said, "I have a space over there, just across the parking lot. Do you want to take a look at it?" So I went there. I wasn't sure about the name of the Mantu.
What does that mean? We started talking about that last night, but I was like, let's save it.
Yeah, let's save it.
What does Mantu mean?
I think God decides about your life when you want to do something. So, and when I was thinking about Mantu, it has two meanings. The dumpling that I really love to make, and means me and you. Man means me, tu means you. So when you connect them, it becomes Mantu. And then me and my wife were preparing Afghani dumpling, the Mantu. And she was like, she's an artist. She does some designs and all that. So she said, let's come up with something new. Make them into rose shape. So once we start rolling them into a rose shape, when you steam the dumplings, it blossoms. It becomes like a rose itself. And you can see the fillings inside.
And you've got roses, white roses on your walls. Did your wife design those?
Yes.
What are they made of? Are they made out of paper?
It's made of paper, yeah.
Okay. Well, we got white roses just for you today.
Thank you so
because
much.
of that. Yeah. So anyway, go ahead. You opened the restaurant, and your staff are all Afghan refugees. Is that correct?
Yes. Since the mission of this restaurant was not only to introduce the culture. As I was raised to feed others, and that was in me. As soon as I was able to, opening the restaurant was not easy. I had no money. I think the people of Richmond, they all came together to help me. When I was sharing my goals with my friends that I'm going to open a restaurant, and they say, "How much money you have?" I was like, "I just got my tax returns." So that's it. It wasn't easy at all. Opening a restaurant, it does need a great financial. But I think mine is totally different. Nobody believes it's a God-gifted place. I think God has given me this. And God asked their loved ones, their children, to go and help this guy. He really wants to open his own space and trying to feed you back.
So they heard about you and kind of went in your direction, went toward you, and you hired this team.
there's people came to do the design inside, a modern style design, and then there's a friend of mine, we used to work together in Earl Thompson. Her husband came and said, well, at the back of your restaurant there's a big space where you can put your logo. And I said, yes, but it does need money to put the name of the Mantu. He says, I will find something. So the next day he came with his bike and started like painting. It took him like 2 days. And then I was really worried about how much money I should give him. The next day when he finished, and asked him really softly how much it costs me. He said, $20 with the lunch. Is it too much?
Oh, my.
And I was like speechless. How are these happening to me?
Wow.
You know, even though without money, if you have a dream to serve others, money is just a small part that plays.
Well, the flowers are beautiful. It was Matthew's idea to have them here today. All right, so in the article that I read, one of your visions was to offer the first meal in the United States for those leaving Afghanistan. 3,000 of them? I mean, why was that so important for you?
I received a call from God. Well, sometimes I feel that there's a invisible power, or there's a voice, that your inner voice always speaks to you. This is the time that you have to do this. You have to do it. There's no way. And when I heard the voice that it is time to feed your people, and we survived COVID, and it wasn't easy for me. So I was struggling to find a way to serve these people. There's a woman, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention her name. She came to a restaurant, she had some lunch, and she said, what help do you need to serve others? And I said, well, I wasn't able to, I have never shared that with anybody, only with my wife. That's what I said, that I'm going to serve people, but I don't know how to like get the financial statements, really. I mean, I don't have money. The woman came for a lunch. She said, Jesus Christ sent me to help you. And I couldn't say anything. She wrote a check for a big amount of money. That money, she sent it to me. I called her back. I said, are you sure you're sending, like, it was $10,000. I called her back. I said, you sure this is the money? She said, this is what I heard, and this is what my God, my Father told me to give it to you. That's what you need. That amount of money covered the 3,000 people. And I did not even spend a penny from my pocket.
Wow.
So I was really scared that I'm trying to serve people, but I don't have money. The next day, when that precious lady came and wrote me a check, I called my friend of mine, Michael Sparks, here from UGK. I called him. I said, I received a check for $10,000. And he was like, no, it's not possible. You got to call them back. Maybe it's $10 or something.
Typo.
But it's unbelievable. I didn't see her again. I think she's abroad now. She calls me brother. And I spent that amount of money to serve those families and to serve those who are living here. I sent a portion to Afghanistan when Afghanistan was controlled by Taliban. People were really struggling about the food. There was nothing. Like, it was the first time when they came, similar situation they faced. So I was able to serve like 500 meals in Afghanistan and 3,000 meals here.
Wow.
And that money covered it all. So I would really want to see her again, to introduce her to the people that this is where the money come from. And people were asking me that where did you get the money and how did you serve them?
I can only imagine the impact that would have on a people who were tired and hungry and looking for home. You know, you were a part of that.
When they came to the camps, I mean, they were having like American-style food, mac and cheese. We love macaroni or pasta, spaghetti, but not with the cheese. So they were always calling, like asking people that where we can get like Afghani food. We were not allowed to go to the camps. It's a military camp, so and we had to get some of those documentations, the rules and regulations, the policies to go in. Cooking 3,000 meal is not as easy at all, you know. My employees, they were like, "Chef, we believe in you that you can make this." Nobody said that you cannot. But once we served them, they said, "Well, we really had a big doubt of like, how are you going to be able to make this amount of food?"
Yeah.
But there's a power behind us.
Yeah, it sounds like another fella I've heard of who was convinced he could feed a lot of people with a little bit. Chef, it sounds like spirituality is absolutely at the center of what you do, and your heart is so big. What is the unifying thing? Clearly you were kind of raised in a religious environment, in a religious household, coming to Richmond, where it's, I would imagine, very Christian dominated. What do you see as the overlaps in the way you worship God and the way we worship God? What's the common denominator?
Well, what I've learned from my religion, when it comes to the Jesus Christ, we call him in Arabic Ruhullah, which is soul of God. And when you say soul of God, it means God. And Jesus Christ is miracle, power which enlightens the world. I think there are so many similarities that we have, but they're all coming from the same ocean. No matter which religion you believe in, they're all those rivers they're all going back to the ocean of love.
Yeah, beautiful. Let's open it up to the folks. I'm really, really interested to hear your questions for Chef Noori. Any? Yes.
You opened Mantu in 2019.
Yes, ma'am.
COVID came in 2020. How did you survive that?
That's a great question. I had to close for like 3 months. When the restaurant was closed, I had to, like, that was the first time having vacation with my kids. Always, like, since I was like 19 that I'm working, it was the first time that I had like 3 months break. I closed for 3 months, and then I had to open it back to serve. I wasn't sure that I can serve people that are coming in the restaurant, or we didn't do any takeouts because people did not know anything. Mostly people did not know anything about Afghani food. Nobody wanted to try. Then I started serving homeless people around the restaurant in downtown areas. So no matter if people are not coming, but you still can serve. So I started serving them. And then we started working with Underground Kitchen to serve homeless families. We were cooking soups. And then churches started supporting us. And then during this 2020, we were able to serve around 5,000 soups to the Virginians. And I mean, I felt like, we are, God has given us this opportunity to serve, even though I never felt that when I go out, I would get COVID and my life is not safe. I never felt like that. So then when you have that power behind you that is always taking care of, don't worry about it, just go. That's what I learned from my mom. She said, God will always protect you. Go, my son, you can make it. And when your mother gives you to the hand of God, then none of these COVIDs will do anything with that. Because we, in Afghanistan, we faced viruses, we faced so many COVIDs, ignoring COVIDs, which is the worst one. And we had to fight back. And we're still fighting. But this was, like I always say, this COVID, even though it was really dangerous for the entire world, for us, it was a piece of cake. That's what I can say.
Are there other questions for Chef Noori? Anyone?
You said you have children, and I'm a mom, and I'm just wondering if you have any customs or if there's anything you do with mealtime with your family. It sounds like it was a big thing that led you to who you are.
I don't have time for my kids now, and I really feel sorry sometimes when I cannot spend time with the kids. I have 4 kids, 2 daughters and 2 sons. The little one is 5.5 years old. She says, Daddy, I want you to come home at daytime, not at nighttime before we sleep. It's not possible for me. I have to serve. I have to sacrifice myself to serve others. It's not easy, but I share my story with them once in a while, that this is how I survived back in Afghanistan. This is your life. And I was able to bring you all over here. Not to forget that you are coming from the poorest country in the world, and your job is to serve others. I unfortunately cannot spend much time with them, but my wife she is the one. She is. I don't have time for my family at all. So when I wake up in the morning, usually I go home like 12 to 1 in the morning back. So we opened a market in Broader Street, again serving Afghani food for the refugees. Being busy with people, but we have to sacrifice.
Well, keep that in mind when you eat at Mantu. Don't linger. He can get home. Chef, this is going to be our concluding question. What is your favorite thing to eat?
Food. Any type of food.
What's your favorite thing to eat at your restaurant? The thing you think you make that's really knocks it out of the park.
The Mantu. Mantu itself, which Dad introduced me to the world. The small roses, it changed my world. It made it opened so many doors for me, and introduced myself, introduced my culture, introduced the food to the world. So I think, yes, the Mantu, definitely it's a small rose,
yeah,
but it means a lot.
Everybody, next week we have Aveen Dogu, who is a baker from Sub Rosa. She'll be with us, and I hear that there may be a bread tasting afterwards. If you would like to make a contribution to the Lenten Speaker Series, Barbara has a beautiful silver platter back there that can hold a lot of money, and it will go to support the series. so that we can continue to hear the stories of amazing people like Chef Noori. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And now remember that life is short and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those with whom we share this journey. So make haste to love and be quick to be kind. And may the blessing of the Holy One be upon you now and forevermore. Amen. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much.
And Chef Noori is going to be eating lunch with us today.